Sikhism is a religion about which not too many people are aware of. Some people think it is a part of Hinduism. Some people even assume them to be Muslim when they see turban-bearing Sikh men. And especially in the Western world, there's not too much awareness about this religion. Here in India, on the other hand, everybody knows what this is. Although they may also not be as familiar as you would want them to be. Or at least, what exactly do Sikhs believe, or their commandments, their scriptures. That is something not too many people are aware of, even in India. So let's try to understand this religion. And for today's podcast, I'll be taking references from Oxford Publications' A Short Introduction to Sikhism. As I've told you many times before, it's a series by Oxford Publications where they provide introduction to various ideologies, philosophies, and different ideas in history, even history itself. So any new subjects, new ideas, you can find some introduction in these kind of books. But I would say you should only consider these books if you are not at all familiar with the subject. Otherwise, they only touch, and because there is not much scope here, so they only touch the surface. They don't go beyond that surface. They don't try to understand or make sense of what really the ideology is about. But for the facts and exact figures, I'll be taking references or certain quotes. In fact, I'll be using this book. So let's start. What does it mean? What does Sikhism mean? Sikhism means somebody who is a Sikh. And Sikh means simply a learner or a disciple. In Punjabi, it calls Sikhna. In Hindi, we say Sikhna. So somebody who is learning, Sikhna means to learn. So somebody who's learning, who's a disciple, is a Sikh. But in this case, specifically disciples of the Guru. And there are 10 Gurus, there were 10 Gurus, and there is 11 Guru, which is a book. It's called Guru Granth Sahib. So 10 Gurus who were human beings, and after that tradition of Guru ended, and then at the end of that they had one book called the Guru Granth Sahib, and that is supposed to serve the role of the Guru from that point onwards. So anybody who believes in that is the one whom we would refer as Sikh. It's like many of the Eastern traditions and Indian religions. It's not something people choose by themselves. It's something they are born in. So you are born in a Sikh family. Most likely then you're a Sikh. Very hardly you would see. It's such a rare event in most of the Indic religions that one person is converting into this religion. It's very rare. It's more common in Christianity and Islam. Hardly any case in these Indic religions such as Hinduism or Jainism or Sikhism. So if we were to define still who's a Sikh, we can go through these checklist sort of points, sort of beliefs that this person needs to have in order to be called Sikh. So most likely this person would believe in one immortal God. Then that person has to believe in these 10 Gurus. First one was Guru Nanak, 10th was Guru Gobind Singh, and as I said, the 11th Guru, Guru Granth Sahib, which is the scripture, main scripture. And they also have to believe in the teachings and the utterances, the words of Gurus. And also importantly, the person is not really belonging to any other religion. That does not mean it's an exclusivist kind of religion, but it's just a kind of your identity that you are a Sikh. The interesting thing in Sikh scriptures, you would find that because of its founders, they were kind of Sufi mystics. They adopted the values and ideas of different religions. In fact, different writers. So it's not something that the scripture, Guru Granth Sahib, is just the utterance of God. I mean, supposedly, it's not that. It is written by a number of poets and writers. Some of them were Sikhs, some of them were Hindus, some Muslims. So that's very interesting. You find this sense of multiculturalism in the scripture itself. That's why it is quite tolerant religion. It respects the idea of other religions. In fact, in Sikh holy temples, which are called Gurudwaras, you'd find anybody can walk in, and people from all religions can enter and worship or just have a good time there. They can eat food and they can rest there. So it's still a very small religion. If you were to calculate it in terms of global population, it's closer to 24-25 million, and most of them, around 20 million, they live in India, and the rest are scattered in different parts of the world. Even in India, you'd find them, most of them are living in the region called Punjab. And so there is a direct connection between Sikhs and Punjab. Sikhs have their origins lie in this region called Punjab. This is where their culture comes from, and their scripture is written in Punjabi. All their gurus, everybody was from Punjab. So the culture is intertwined with religion in Sikhism. We have to remember that this is a very new religion, probably the newest among the major religions in the world. The first guru of Sikhism, Guru Nanak, was also the founder of it. He was born around 1469, which is really the 15th century. And he was a kind of a Sufi, kind of a reformer who was against superstitions, rituals, and many other religious practices in Hindus and in Muslims. But he also saw the good things in these religions, which is why he was very particular about it, finding the good things in all religions and then including them in the scripture. And scripture is also quite interesting. As I said, it's called the Guru Granth Sahib. And much like the most traditions in India, religious traditions, the scripture is not read but narrated. If you've been to Amritsar, a city in Punjab, or anywhere in Punjab, you'd see that every morning some electronic devices, they play a message, and that's how their morning begins. At 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, the attendant person, he opens the scripture at random and reads the opening words of the hymn at the top of the left-hand page. And then he recites it. And that's what he does every day. The scripture, as I've already told you, it's given the status of the guru. So it's treated also that way. It is placed on a chair. Everybody sits below its level. And everybody respects it in the same way they would respect their guru. And if you read the scripture, you would find why they recite it, then they read it, because there is such sweet poetry that you really enjoy it, and you really enjoy especially when you chant it with a group of other believers. Most of the poetry in it is it reminds you of that Sufi or Bhakti tradition in India, which is really about respecting all faiths, believing in one God, but finding your own connection rather than following any ritual. In fact, there is a beautiful verse by Guru Arjan, who was one guru in the Sikh tradition. He says, "Of all religions, the best religion, the purest deed is repeating the name of the Lord. Of all rites, the holiest rite is cleansing oneself of evil in the company of the saints. Of all efforts, the finest effort is repeating the name of the Lord forever. Of all speeches, the sweetest speech that transcends death is hearing and voicing the Lord's glory. Of all places, the most sacred place, Nanak, is the heart in which the Lord dwells." So as you see, it's just like Sufism, just that tradition of spirituality. It's just about finding the connection with God. Everything else you can leave behind. Everything else is secondary. No such strict traditions, no such rituals, but just that faith in God and your own connection. That's why you wouldn't find many conflicts in Sikhism or conflicts of Sikhs with other religions, and you'd find a lot of Sikhs doing social work, especially in their religious settings, in their gurudwaras, because it is very much a part of their tradition to serve humanity, to help people. So wherever you travel in India, if you find Sikhs, you'd find they are offering food and water, especially in summers when water is scarce. So they are always offering and doing a lot of volunteer job. In fact, they are doing this at this point also in all kinds of war situations around the world, because that is very much a part of the central idea of their religion, which is really to serve the humanity. And it is very much told in the following verse that I'm going to read. "Let contentment be your yogi earrings. Let modesty be your pouch and begging bowl. Let meditation be the ashes you religiously wear. Let consciousness of death be your head covering. Let pure living be your vow of celibacy, and faith in God your staff. Accept all humans as your equals, and let them be your only sect.